Well, first scrimmage of the fall, how'd it go out there?
It went well. Just the energy, guys flying around. I mean, this was practice 9, and in spring it took us about a month to get to practice 9. And in 9 days, here we are, 8 days. We're into practice 9 in the scrimmage. I thought the energy was really good. Plenty of things to work on. There were mistakes out there and things that we got to correct, which we have time to do that. And it actually gives us something to go back tomorrow and really focus on for the next few weeks. But I like the way the guys came out and played. I like the way they executed for the most part. And then to see the new guys, the new faces. We have a lot of new faces out there. Just to watch them fly around and just play and just really cut it loose and make mistakes, but still fly around and just see what they got. It was a whole lot of fun. So I'm happy where we're at right now as far as practice goes, and we'll have plenty to come back with over the next couple weeks and get better at. But as far as effort, that's always the one thing that I really judge is just the energy and effort. That was where it needed to be tonight, and we'll clean up the rest.
As a coach, it's kind of like being a professor. You kind of have a little midterm here. What do you get out of seeing this that you might not see at a practice?
Speed, the tempo of the game, guys thinking fast. Practice, you're tagging off, you're kind of running to a guy and all that. Now you got to go make that tackle. Now you got to break that tackle. And really to see some adversity and watch guys overcome it. Offense backed up, defense, on the goal line with their heels against it and fighting their way through it. Whatever the situation is, and just to watch, how the teams respond. And you can't do that in practice. You can simulate it, but you got to go cut it loose and let a guy play. And to be honest, I think this is the fun part as a player, is now we get to go play. Now I get to go out there and cut it loose. There's no more restrictions on tempo and what we're doing. We're going out there to see where we're at. And as a player, you can gauge yourself now, all right, before we play, okay, where am I at? What are the things I have to focus on now? And we reevaluate from this point on. And so that's the best part about going live and letting those guys cut it loose.
You said Ryan had opened a pretty big gap through spring ball, and you hoped maybe it would close. What have you seen so far in fall camp? Has anything changed there?
Well, that closed, in the summertime. That's the one thing. I think all those quarterbacks from spring to where they are now had a great summer. That gap is closed. Ryan has done a very nice job. He's executed. He's managed the offense well. He's made plays. Tommy has done the same thing, has executed the offense well, has made plays. Rippon has really done a great job of catching up, being a young guy. And Alex Ogle, from spring to where he is now, knowledge is better. He understands it, and we know that he's got some really great physical tools. So this scrimmage, to go back, and I don't know what the amount of reps each guy got. They're pretty equal tonight. And so we'll watch and just evaluate, what they did, how they operate. I thought what I saw out there was pretty good by all of them. There was some bad things that happened. They didn't make it worse. And then they made some plays as well, and they directed the offense. So, that's what we want. We want that to be tight. And then, this week as we get more into new schemes and different things that we're doing, that will probably start to change, and we get to that second scrimmage. Now we got to tighten that thing up and figure out what we're going to do.
Are you getting close to a decision there, or you still think you're a little ways away?
I haven't gotten to that point yet. Haven't really got to a point where we want to make a decision. There's so many scenarios we still have to cover in practice, and let these guys go out there and practice that scenario, and then evaluate what happens. So we're just not there yet. That will tie into that second scrimmage. And after that, we'll have most of the scenarios that we need to make that decision done, and then we'll figure out from there, what the time frame is to do that.
Have any of the other three behind Ryan kind of, moved ahead of the others in terms of challenging Ryan the most, or?
Well, they've all challenged him. That's the one thing. Ryan has taken equal reps with the twos as he has the ones. Everybody's been moved around. That's the thing about it. Everybody, I wouldn't say equal reps or equal attempts, but they've all had opportunities to work with the one group, whatever that is at that time, the second group and the third group, and they've all been through different scenarios. So we're going to continue that. I just think that's part of their development. So whoever that is, this is how we do it. And all those guys have pushed on certain days. Sometimes a guy comes out, you're like, all right, wow, that guy had a great day. The next day it's somebody else. And those guys just go back and forth. And I think when we get through this scrimmage, you're going to see more of maybe some guys separating as we get into that second scrimmage, and then we'll figure it out from there.
The running back battle, what have you seen from that group? Has anyone stood out there, and how do you feel about that group as a whole?
They were all good tonight. They were physical. There were some really good physical runs, and you know, and our defense played well tonight as well. You know, there were some 2-3 yard runs in there, but they were physical. And that's really what, you know, we were looking for, is just downhill physical and letting those guys go run the ball, run between the tackles. There were some good plays made on the perimeter as well by the backs, but the rotation Coach Marks has going at this point has been very good, and I like where the backs are at. I like the mentality they have. We're not there yet. We're not ready to make a decision at that point. We still like the quarterback position. They've got to keep playing more. We've got to use them in different situations to figure out, you know, what the rotation is going to be.
A chance to see some of these guys that, you know, are coming off of injuries, maybe like a guy like Jeremy McNichols, finally getting into contact. What have you seen out of maybe him, and also a guy like Tyler Horn and maybe the guys in the middle up front?
Yeah, all good. You know, they're healthy. I think excited to be back. You know, I think Tyler Horn tonight, to go out there and cut it loose in the scrimmage, had a whole lot of fun. He had a smile on his face. Jeremy McNichols the same way. I mean, all these guys, Chancellor James, made some big plays tonight. So all those guys that have been injured, you know, getting them back and getting them out there on the field, you know, this is a great opportunity for them, just a test to go out there and just play the game again, because they've been away from it through spring or even half the season for some of them. So tonight was fun. You know, I know there was some nervous energy, you know, every time you do that, but you could see them as it went on, you know, loosen up a little bit and just play. And we were out there playing towards the end of it, and, you know, guys got about 32, 33 snaps each. You know, so about half a game for the most part, and that's what we want. And, you know, again, like I said, we'll go back and watch the tape and see exactly, you know, what I thought I saw, you know, if that's the case.
Any highlights or that stood out, or players that stood out, or anything notable?
No, yeah, there were, and there's too many to mention, and not because, you know, everything was fantastic by any means. It just, guys were playing well. Guys were out there executing. Some of our guys that have played for us, you know, did a nice job and got some good reps. I would say this, you know, the young group, and some guys I saw, Durant Miles tonight, Marquise Hendricks, those guys made some plays, and they were moving, they were playing fast. Darion Jackson and Cam Hartsfield, you know, those guys stood out tonight as well on the defensive side. So guys were making plays, and what I see is I know what those coaches have asked them to work on, and I saw guys making those corrections tonight, and that's what's exciting about it. And now there's going to be plenty to work on after this.
Among the newcomers, anybody that's caught your eye through the first nine practices?
Quite a few. Tyler Horton, you know, is one. He's been very competitive at practice. You know, he's a guy that you know, has gone out there and got some reps with the twos and has made plays. Has done that consistently. Marquise Hendricks, you know, is a guy that at a position that's got some depth, but a young guy that's been playing well. Durant Miles tonight, you know, and Durant's a guy that came off his mission, has just, you can see him now, his body is just reacting to the lifting and the eating and just getting back into shape, and he's just getting bigger, you know, and he looks really good, so I'm excited about him as well. Keelan Butler, you know, through practice, you know, has made plays at the wide receiver position, seems to have a pretty good idea of what he's supposed to do. And, you know, we'll see where he goes this week with his reps.
Deuce came in here before you came back, but, you know, none of us have ever talked to the guy, met him. What can you tell us about Deuce, what he brings to the team? You know, I mean, I guess he's, 27, 28 years old. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, well, that probably needs to change at some point, right? Deuce he's a fantastic person. You know, he's obviously mature. He's an older player. He's got some maturity. You know, and for him, his focus has been, you know, getting himself ready to play. That's the number one thing. And, you know, last year being on the scout team and playing really well and giving our offensive line a lot of troubles, and then being injured, you know, and getting himself healthy, ready to play this year. And, you know, this is his one opportunity, and the way it's all worked out for him. So as far as a teammate goes, you know, I think he's got that role in the locker room, you know, and I think for the older or the younger guys can really help him out just because of his situation. But for us, we want to see him play. He wants to play. I mean, that's really been the main focus, is getting him healthy and ready to play. And, you know, when he is, you guys will have a chance to talk to him. He's got a great personality. You know, he's one of our players that, you know, does a lot for us, not just on the field, or will do for us hopefully on the field, but does a lot off the field, you know, and we're just excited to get him rocking and rolling and looking forward to having him play.
When was he hurt? Sorry.
Dinged up in the summer a little bit.
Okay.
But he's fine. He's going to be ready to go, and, you know, he's got himself back, and you know, he's excited. I mean, he wants to get out there and be playing, and we expect him to do that.
Any other injury notes a week into camp? And anything you guys?
No, not anything that's going to keep anybody out. And, you know, the bumps and bruises, you know, a couple ankles here and there, but nothing that's going to keep guys from, that's a great ring right there.
Yeah.
Nothing that's going to keep guys from, right at this point, playing. And so, you know, we got to manage that. That's one of the things through camp, you know, everybody's got to be managed a little bit. You know, they get some bumps and bruises, and these guys practice hard and physical, and so, you know, we got to be smart about it. And, you know, as we get further into camp, that's where we've got to be a little bit creative with reps, you know, and how we do things, based off guys that might have some dings, so they can be prepared and healthy to play.
When it comes to a guy like Deuce, I mean, he hasn't played actual football game in a couple of years now. So how do you kind of gauge that? I mean, is it just I mean, obviously you find out a lot when these guys actually do get in a game.
Yeah, he's been caged up for 2 years, so hopefully it's watch out when he goes out there and plays. I mean, the guy's been wanting to play. The desire is there. You know, the opportunity is just what he needs, and he's going to get his opportunity soon.
Through 9 practices, or are you where you want to be right now?
I'll be able to answer that better after I watch the film tonight. We're where, you know, we probably should be at this point. Want to be, you know, that's always a desire, and we're always pushing. But you know, tonight, you know, sitting back there and watching both sides, I was happy with the effort, the energy, you know, the way the guys played. There's plenty of execution things that we have to get better at. I'm sure the coaches have seen a lot more than I did. But as far as the corrections that certain guys have made through practice and that happened tonight, that's what gets me excited. We're progressing. And how far, that will be determined after we watch the film and I get every coach's opinion on where we are. Do we move some guys around? What is the new rotation going to be? What's the next mix that we want to try before we get into that next scrimmage? And that's going to be the key to what we do moving forward.
Just that, I mean, maybe reiterate. So the next scrimmage, you think, in terms of quarterback play, that will kind of be telling maybe?
No, it won't. We won't have a quarterback at that point. I promise you that. And, you know, we'll see how far, you know, it takes itself. That's just the one thing. We have a plan, and we have a lot of different scenarios that will even lead into that. So, you know, when that scrimmage is over, no, we'll have 2 or 3 more things that we need to still put these guys through before we make that decision. And it'll be a lot closer than it is right now, but it won't be a decision immediately after that.
With Chance, he's saying he's playing more nickel now, and I know he played in the BYU game last year. What's he going to bring to that position?
Well, he's really smart, and he's physical. You know, and you look at Chance. I mean, he is long. You know, he's very long and can cover a whole lot of ground. So I think just his mentality. You know, he loves football. He prepares very well. He's very smart, and so now he's going to bring that to that position. He's going to bring that physicality to that position. He did tonight. You know, I thought he played physical, and it's good to get him back out there. He has done so much to rehab himself back into where he's at right now and competing for a starting position. And so, you know, I mean, you're proud of guys that do that, and you're excited to see them work hard and put themselves in that position. What happens from here on out, we'll see, but I do expect him to be in the rotation.
Are Chance, Mercy, and Cam Miles all 3 playing nickel right now?
Yes, Cam's playing some more safety.
Okay.
Mercy and Chance are playing more nickel right now. Cam's playing a little bit of safety. Cam will come back and play some nickel. Chance will go back and play some safety. That position, you know, they move quite a bit, and so we're working different combinations. But Chance and Mercy spending most of the time at nickel, and we'll see if that changes this week. If we're going to put one of those guys back. And I'm talking about Chance and Cam, you know, switch those guys up a little bit to safety and nickel, so we just have ourselves prepared if something were to change.
You said that, you know,